G'day everyone, welcome back to the Short Ball Podcast, where today we're going to go through the Under-19s Origin and review it, and just go through a couple of the talking points, who were the key players for both teams, both for New South Wales and Queensland, sort of how the game played out. We'll start off with that, but just in general, just discussing the game and analysing it. And I already have done a lot over on my Instagram, so make sure you go check that out. That's where most of my good work gets put in. And on TikTok as well, a couple of videos dissecting a couple of those games over there as well. So make sure you go follow me on all those platforms, on Instagram, the shortball_, and on TikTok, the shortball._. So this is going to be my first of two reviews. I'm going to do them separate. This is the Under-19s men's game that I'm going to be reviewing today, and then tomorrow, the Under-19s women's review podcast is going to come out. So I'll be reviewing both games in depth, and sort of covering them in this same way both times. But I was there at the game live, obviously. You see a few different things. Then I rewatched it over the weekend and added some notes, and so we're going to get into that now. Just overall, the game was a little bit scrappy. I didn't really notice it live, but so many just unforced errors rather, where they were sort of both teams were forcing the pass or forcing just something to happen. I think they very, very much started off a little bit nervous. Queensland in particular, I thought, looked very nervous to start this game. They were forcing their hand a lot. Israel Leota came up with a pretty bad error early on with an offload, and I think they completed it like 25% early. So obviously it makes it hard to start strong when you're making too many errors, but that's just the way it goes. New South Wales started off pretty similar. I think there was 2 intercepts in the first 5 minutes. Cam Bukowski threw one, sort of forcing the play. And Mitchell Woods did the similar thing in the first set of the game. I think it was for New South Wales, or it might have been off a repeat set for them. So, bit of a soft start, but I think when they came together in that push and shove, it really ignited both of them. They fired up. The defence really started to turn, and Queensland, I thought, controlled the period after that push and shove. I think they kept their head the most. I think New South Wales sort of let it get to them a little bit, and Queensland controlled that sort of next part of the game. I think it was from about the 15-minute mark through to about just before half-time, where Caden Lars, Sam Tuivati, they came on and took back control of the middle, which was very good from those two guys, and we'll talk about that a little bit further down the track a little bit, but I thought it was I thought it was good from those two boys to come on and turn what was starting to become Queensland's game back towards New South Wales' favour. Go to the sheds at 10-6, and Queensland, they came out the stronger side after half time. They had that try early. I thought it was pretty poor from New South Wales right edge defence. It looked like a little bit like a training drill, and you sort of got the feeling that Queensland were going to take over. Kobe Black, Jackson Purdue really played well in this part of the game. Kobe Black's kicking game was phenomenal all night. Jackson Purdue's running game, I think he ran for 226 metres, so they were both really, really good and lived up to the pre-game hype. Sam Stevenson as well, I wanted to just shout him out. He had a really good game, I thought. A really good line runner, powerful ball runner, I thought. So, good from him. So they sort of come out. So after that actually, Delar through this stint, I just wanted to mention him as well. I've got that in my notes. Delar Saliva, he was really, really good in his second stint. He was powerful, very hard to contain, and he was definitely Queensland's, might not have been Queensland's best, but he was definitely top 2. He was really, really good. But as the game sort of went on, New South Wales, they got a little bit lucky because Queensland were dominating, and it was 10-all, and Kobe Black had a really good kick into a Cam Bukowski, really good kick, and they had New South Wales trapped, and Vitano comes up with an error that they challenge, and those two captains' challenges that they had really, they made a difference. Like, I know it sounds sort of simple to say, or silly to say, I guess, that, captains' challenges had an impact on this game, but these two captain's challenges both resulted in tries off the back of it. That Vitano one at the end in particular, to challenge that, they got the ruck infringement penalty. They marched down the field and then they scored the match winner off the back of it. I thought that was really crucial, because had that been the opposite way around, maybe Queensland scored the match winner in that next set inside New South Wales red zone, but obviously New South Wales went back up the other end. Jake Elliott put that kick over the top. Vitano knocks one back inside for Chevy. Chevy had a brilliant game, absolute blinder. And then Matthew Arthur scores back on the inside and support play to win it for them. So yeah, it was a really, really physical game by the end of it. Obviously, it was scrappy for the most part, but I was impressed overall with a lot of the players from both sides, and I thought there wasn't too many players that didn't give themselves a fair showing or fair account of things. So we'll just cover a couple of those players and a couple of the decisions made. The first one, Vitano off the bench, he replaces Zane Harrison late. I think it was the hour mark change. Vitano came in for Zane Harrison, and that ended up proving a master stroke, because obviously Jesse McLean went down early, unfortunately. I was keen to see how he went in this game, but wasn't to be. 2 minutes into the game, knocked out in that cover tackle. But having that outside back cover on the bench allowed New South Wales to sort of not have to change their game plan up too much, and that was actually really good from Andrew Ryan to have Vitano as cover for that, and he had a really good game, I thought. He didn't have the consistent or the hard work out of yardage, or he didn't have heaps of involvement in the game like he usually would, but he came up with two really, really good moments. He sees the two moments that he needed to come up with the play he did, and that's all that you could ask for him in a game as important as Origin. Obviously, that first one was his own try. Jake Elliott put the kick in over the top. He made a really good take under pressure from Israel Leota, and sort of spun through contact to score stretched out. It was a really good try, and defensively, I thought he'd done a really good job on Israel Leota. He got the best of that matchup, in my opinion. He had two sort of scrappy errors off kicks, but both of them ended up being penalties to New South Wales anyway. The first one, Israel Leota offside, and the second one, we talked about it before, ruck infringement from Kobe Black. So done his job perfectly, and when the moment came, he seized that moment. So good from Vitano and good from Andrew Ryan to have him on the bench as cover for Jesse McLean. Chevy, much improved game from last year. We spoke about it pre-game, but he had a bit of a stinker last year, and he's come out and absolutely torn it up today, on Thursday rather. 206 run meters, 15 tackle breaks, couple line breaks, try assist. Doesn't get much better than that for Chevy Stewart. So a really improved game. He just looked like a man amongst boys in this game. His kicking returns, he really reminded me of James Tedesco. I have made that comparison in the past for him, but just the toughness on his kick returns, that was something that he maybe lacked last year, and this year it was much improved. Just insane tackle busting ability, and he picked apart any gap in the defence, and the commentators made a huge point of it throughout the game that Queensland had to present a straight line to him, and whenever they didn't present that straight line to him, he just busted them open, and it was a really good all-round performance from Chevy and much improved from last year. And the last one for New South Wales, a difference maker, I thought. Captain Matty Arthur, 37 tackles, had 110 run meters off of about 12 runs. And I thought where he was best was around the ruck and sort of baiting the markers and A defenders. There's a little passage of play which I'd highlight where he baited the markers, offloaded to Casey McLean. Casey makes about 15 metres off the back of that. This is coming out of yardage, so they were, I think, on their 30. Gives it to Casey McLean. He sort of busts through, and then he does the same thing, but on the other side with Cody Hopwood. Cody Hopwood sort of punches through a gap, makes about 10 metres, and he offloads to Mitchell Woods. And those two plays ended up making about 40 metres for New South Wales, and it was just stuff like that where he was really helping his backs and forwards take tough carries just by alleviating the pressure a little bit and getting those markers and A defenders focused on him rather than focused on the guys who are actually about to carry the ball. And I thought he did a really good job of that, and part of that was how many times he did run the ball in that first half. I think he ran the ball maybe 8 times in the first half, and I think he put it away in that second half. A couple of comments around him hogging the ball and balls hitting the deck and stuff like that. When he did what he did outside of that, I think you can forgive it. And 12 carries from a hooker, it's not something outlandish, and a lot of those carries actually were off taps and really quick play the balls, and they were effective. So I don't think... I think he overplayed. If there was a critique on his game, I think it was that he overplayed his hand a little bit inside Queensland's end. He had a couple balls hit the deck, and he kicked down the blind side on third tackle when I thought it just was not on whatsoever. Queensland probably had the overlap on that side, and he puts a grubber kick in, and stuff like that. Overplayed his hand a little bit, but I thought it was a pretty good knock from the captain. Really led by example, and defensively as well. I thought he was good. Great service as usual, but that's been spoken about. As for the guys that stood up in the loss for Queensland, I thought Lewis Simons, absolute workaholic. I loved what he did. When he came on, I thought him and De La Va'a were the two best forwards for Queensland. I'm a huge fan of Simons. I just think he's an absolute workhorse. He's got a good offloading game. And he set up their first try to Harry Armstrong, did a really good job baiting Jermaine McEwen, dragging him in, and then just all the space in the world for Harry Armstrong outside of him, and he executed that play to perfection. But it was an effort play that he had before that, which even set them up the chance to score, and there was a ball that went loose off a offload, and he just dove on it and then made about 30 metres, and it was a really good effort play that led into the next try. So I thought he was really good, and defensively he was good too. I think he made 30 tackles, had a couple of misses, but none of them were really standout sort of poor stuff. So yeah, good game from him. Jackson Purdue, we mentioned him before, but he was really good. 226 run meters, couple of tackle busts, that one line break where sort of nothing was on, and he just split them open, made about 40 meters before Chevy brought him down. He was the guy for Queensland in this game that just looked the most likely, and he was always going to be that guy for them, I thought. Sam Stevenson as well, mentioned him before, really good game. He was one of the ones that I thought stood up. Couple of talking points from that game. Now, the halfback battle was something that was spoken about a lot pre-game, and I thought that certainly lived up to the hype. Kobe Black, 546 kicking metres. His long kicking game was absolutely phenomenal. Had that 40-20 where he absolutely creamed it from inside his 30, and it landed at about 10 to 12 metres out from New South Wales line. That was unreal. He had a couple of really good kicks which found grass on sort of third or fourth tackle, and his bombs were going really high and really proving troublesome for Chevy Stewart, Conovatano, because he kept going right looking for Israel Leota. And I thought that logging kicking game was nearly perfect, but it was Mitchell Wood's short kicking game which I thought stood out for him. And it was the sort of contrast of the two halfbacks. Mitchell Woods very much more run heavy and really good short kicking game. Mitchell Woods does have that long kicking game, obviously with the AFL background I've spoken about before, but in this game in particular, those were sort of how the two contrasted, and Mitchell Woods did come out on top. I did think Woods overplayed his hand, overran a little bit, so he had 14 runs of the ball, but in the second half, I thought he'd done it a little bit too much. Took a lot of carries that sort of a prop would take but he was doing it on third or fourth tackle where he'd just get it and then just jink off the right foot and go straight into the line. I thought he did that just a couple too many times. I thought he looked sharp when he was doing it. His right foot steps obviously very lethal, but maybe there was a couple of times there where he could have passed instead of doing that. But his short kicking game, those two grubber kicks to Michael Gabriel, which neither of them ended up with tries due to errors from others, either in the lead up or in the first one. It was Michael Gabriel who dropped the first one, but they were two unreal grubbers, and to come up with nothing for those two efforts, I thought was a little bit unfair to him. The vision, the execution was really, really good from Woodsy. So I liked that battle between the two halfbacks, and obviously Woods came out on top today, but I think this could be a battle that goes on for years and years, because both of these guys, I think, have sort of the mould of a premiership halfback. Just real proper game managers and just have the ability to break games open. I think Kobe Black's long kick game is one of the best I've ever seen from an 18-year-old. Both of these guys can go around in this game next year as well. Really good, really special talents, and we're an age up in this game, which is insane. Next talking point, Casey McLean and his effort areas. We all know what he can do in attack, but he ran for 210 metres off of 17 carries. He just was too strong. Like, he just looked super, super strong in this one. Both centres did, I thought, but Casey McLean looked a lot more powerful, whereas Hayden Buchanan just looked like a tough bastard when he was doing his carries. But Casey McLean, 17 runs, 210 metres. I think he had about 7 tackle breaks. And his defence too was really good. He came up with a whole heap of effort plays. He did a really good job on LJ Nonu. LJ Nonu did a good job on him as well. I thought Casey can obviously come up with a heap of huge plays, and LJ did get beaten on a couple of occasions, but none of it really amounted to anything because there was cover defenders or because LJ did enough of a job to sort of slow him down. That tackle late in the game, 1-on-1, just snapped Casey in half with the game on the line. I thought that was a really good play, and I think he was injured just a minute before that as well. He was down in back play, so special job from him. But yeah, Casey, really good effort areas. And that chase down on Tyrese Tate, I didn't realise how fast Casey actually was, because Tyrese Tate is an absolute speedster, and Casey had him run down by the 30 coming from the other side of the field. So that was a good effort too. Cam Bukowski is the next one I wanted to talk about. He led from the front for Queensland, 50 tackles, heap of try savers. His try saver on Fanafo Seve would have been highlighted so much more had they gone on to win. I think similar to LJ's not try saver, but his tackle on Casey McLean earlier. I think it was the set prior. Both of those guys came up with huge plays, but Cam Bukowski led from the front. Good deception around the ruck, similar to Arthur. Was able to bait the markers and just give his halfback plenty of time. Really good service. And he did a really good job in that first try, holding up markers and just hitting the chest and giving his guys time. And I think that's what the two hookers in this game did particularly well. And he didn't really use his kicking game that much, but he did on one occasion, and it was to perfection. So you can't discredit him there at all. I think he kicked on third tackle from inside his 40 and landed it in the in goal. So really good stuff there. My next talking point, though, was Sam Tuivati and Lars, the 1-2 punch, and then Halangahu as well had a really good game, all three of them. Absolutely super off the bench. So Tuivati, 8 runs, 93 metres. Caden Lars was 9 runs for 115 metres. And Jacob Halangahu was 11 runs for 135 metres. So these guys all did a super job. They looked really powerful. Obviously big bodies. Halangahu not as big, but really stocky and powerful. And somebody made a good comparison the other day to David Fafita. I think he's in that sort of mould of player, and he is a hitman. He loves contact. So, yeah, really good stuff from the three of those boys. That Vitano try late in the first half was pretty much purely set up by the Tuivati and Lars 1-2 punch. I think it was Tuivati took a carry and then Lars took a carry, and that was that. They set the line back. They made Queensland scramble, and Jake Elliott landed a good kick for Vitano to score in the corner to take the lead. Cody Hopwood and Noah Martin will be my last talking point from this game. They just absolute dogs. Both played huge minutes. Hopwood 53, Martin played the full 70. Hopwood was a little bit offload happy, but he had really good stint. I think he had 4 offloads, and 3 of them I thought were really good. One of them sort of went a little bit but yeah, his 53 minutes were really good. I think he ran for about 140 metres as well in that. Just kept going after the game, just kept chasing it. 26 tackles, 14 runs, really good stuff there. And Noah Martin's defence was amazing. He didn't do too much in attack. I thought he was a little bit quiet on that end, but 38 tackles, 1 miss, and just kept being in places he didn't have to be. And late in the game, they looked to make a break down the left edge. Sam Stevenson and Tyrese Tate were looking to link up, and Noah Martin was there on the centre and made a really good one-on-one tackle. So that was good from him. Both of those guys just loved what they did. I think those two have big futures in the game, Hopwood and Martin. I've been a big fan of Hopwood for a while. Noel Martin I haven't seen as much of, or probably haven't specifically focused in on him as much. I've seen him in Cup, and I loved what he did in that trial game against Parramatta, but I think those two guys could have really big futures in the game if they continue to just go after the game like they did in that Origin game on Thursday. But that'll be it for my review. I'll obviously keep doing content on Instagram. If there's anything that you think I missed, or you think you want me to go over, I will. And also just check Instagram. Follow me there. Follow me on TikTok.